Alright, Saints Nation, welcome back. We're about to get started with our fifth matchup in the Drury Esports Invitational. And it's going to be us versus Western Kentucky University. Once again, my name is Dan Banner, going to be your host for this matchup. But without without having to wait, we're going to be going straight into the picks and bans. And this is a pretty similar theme here that I keep seeing between majority of the teams that play against us, as Camille and Olaf are going to be taking off the board extremely quickly. Lucian, I mean, we've seen you'll have a good time so far, a champion overall. Some solid performances earlier in the day. Excuse me. And Ezreal going to be taken off the board alongside Shen and Shaco for the side of St. Clair. For the team of Western Kentucky University, we have up in the top lane, Quiche, currently Platinum 1. Montresk, Gold 2 in the jungle. Mifid, Diamond 4 in the mid lane. I'm assuming Tuak? You'll have to see what I'm talking about. This is an odd one. Another Diamond 4 down on the 80 carry slot. Then Jelly Dog on support. First picks are now underway, of course, as you can probably see. So Pantheon going to be being picked up by Masfu once again. Syndra left on the board for Yule, so he's going to be able to pick that one up. Of course, one of the comfort picks once again here for Yule. We saw him get to play his Twisted Fate last game. But now he gets to pick another comfort pick in Syndra. I can't imagine that Syndra being played anywhere else, so I'd assume that'd be the case. Orianna and Volibear picked up on the side of Western Kentucky. Of course, there is a combo in itself. Of course, give your Volibear the ball for a shockwave potentially. Now, Callista picked up from St. Clair. I mean, we just saw this bot lane combination in the last game, and it did a fantastic job between both Mansfu and Lazi. Hecarim, the final pick for this first section. So it's going to be from Montresk in the jungle. No Lilia in play, however, this time by. So Trick is going to have to think of something else. Just fine compared to the last matchup. That is not going to be a problem. Picked something else last time anyway. And a Caitlyn would definitely give a Callista a hard time early, so don't mind the ban coming out from St. Clair. That extended range compared to Callista's, not point blank, but it's definitely smaller than Caitlyn's. Callista would be harassed on constantly. And Nidalee, that's what Trick picked last time. And taking away the Ashe. So the only other, I suppose, main meta 80 carry right now would be the Senna. If Western Kentucky opts into it. I know during our first match of the day versus Purdue, instead of taking that route, they just went for Twitch, which was interesting, but it wasn't quite effective. There's a champion I haven't seen in a good while. Varus going to be making some plays here. Some long-range snipes with some arrows and being able to lock down a team fight. Definitely a solid pick coming up, especially if the Hecarim and Volibear are the first to charge in. This would be different from Frez if the Urgot does get locked in. This was something that was played by Western Kentucky, but nope, it's going to be the Ornn. This is a pretty standard pick here for Frez on the St. Clair side of things. We just need one more. We need our jungler, more than likely here for St. Clair. Italy off the board, so is Lilia. We saw the Elise in game 1. Was very effective, and we're going to see it again here versus Western Kentucky. Now, it's probably just a support needed left on the side of Western Kentucky. Alongside the Varus, who do you want to pair with it? Something like a bodyguard of Braum, or something a little aggressive? I used to see a lot of Varus Leona. But that's not going to be the case. It's going to be the Morgana instead. So, taking a look at the compositions, we have St. Clair with a bot lane that they're obviously comfortable with. Then, excuse me. And the Syndra for Yule, of course, another champion is extremely comfortable with. Frez has had all of the time in the world here on Ornn. In fact, one of his comfort picks as well. And then we don't get to see a lot of Trix Elise, but the last time we saw it, it was quite effective. Transition over to the in-game draft itself. Now, of course, that Orianna going to be being picked up by Mift. Volibear will be on Quiche. Montrask on the Hecarim. Tuak on the Varus, and Jelly Dog on Morgana.
Right. The taste of coward.
Coward. May you die with your eyes closed.
As this draft goes on, nothing really too out of the ordinary. There wasn't really much flexibility in regards to where these champions were going, so no surprise there. And looking forward to this matchup. I mean, Western Kentucky have definitely been a little worse for wear so far in this matchup, or in this tournament rather. They currently, where do they sit themselves? Okay, they have 2 wins, 2 losses, so they're right in the middle, hanging in there. But if they want to contest for a playoff spot, they're definitely going to need this victory. Because right now, Milligan, team we played in the last matchup, is currently holding that 4th position. But of course, they are ahead of Florida Southern and Purdue Fort Wayne. So near the middle, Western Kentucky looking to make their name known here versus our Saints. And we'll have to see how this one ends up. It's going to be interesting. I know looking at the team compositions right now, there is a lot of there's a lot of setup here for Mift's Orianna in particular on the side of Western Kentucky. Of course, Hecarim dives in with the ball on top of him. Not only are you fearing everybody, if you get it at the right time, you can definitely blow up everybody with a shockwave on top of them. You got to time that out. It's a little bit tricky, however, because you put the ball onto the Hecarim, he ults in, he has a fear effect, right? So if he lands in the middle of everybody and sends everybody away, the shockwave ain't going to get anything. But you time it properly so as he's diving in before the fear really kicks in, then you blow up everybody, then they get feared. Would definitely be a fantastic combination on the side of Western Kentucky if they can manage to pull that off. And they are kind of helped a little bit with the fact that the Varus can lock people down. Organa can definitely lock people down and stun them up. And Volibear is another one of those champions that can definitely dive into the middle of a team fight if the Hecarim isn't the main option this time. So, an interesting little team fight composition. Varus has the ability to poke a little bit prior as well. His original, or his main ability being able to pull out an arrow and charge it up in basically a sniper shot. It does a ton of damage, especially if it doesn't go through minions. I've seen those arrows basically 100 to 50 people. If not, if that lands on, like, say, Lazzie's Kalista, for example, that could be 3/4 of his health gone just by a single arrow if he's not careful. If Tuak was able to farm up and whatnot as this game goes on. But even early, it does a good amount of damage. Meanwhile, St. Clair team, this is a pick team. Without question, just a pick composition. You've got plenty of... excuse me. You've got the front line in Frez, and then, of course, Trick on Elise. You've got the web. You can definitely stun somebody up. You have Syndra's stun. You have the engage ulti from Kalista. Pick up Mansfo's and throw him at you. And Mansfo himself can do some stuns as well. So, if anybody gets soloed out, they're going to be in for a world of hurt looking at this St. Clair team. Excuse me. A couple moments left on this spectator delay, and we'll be hopping right into the game. Of course, big thank you to the sponsors that do make this happen. Of course, St. Clair College, the St. Clair SRC, St. Clair Alumni Association, Zeckelman School of Business and IT, PC Outlet, and Tim Hortons. Thank you all for making this all possible. And the fact that I can spend this Saturday broadcasting all of these matches in this tournament towards you guys, always a pleasure. So thank you all for tuning in. Just around the corner here before we get into this matchup, of course, St. Clair on the blue side. Western Kentucky going to take red. A lot of people seem to be favoring that red side so far in the last couple matches, but of course, St. Clair won that last one when they were on blue. We'll have to see how this one turns out. We move forward here. Of course, anybody in the chat, especially if you've got some fans of Western Kentucky University in the chat, be sure to let us know in the chat. Be sure to cheer on your team, and if you have, or if who do you think is going to be a standout player in this matchup on either side? Anyone I invite to play in the chat. Who's going to pop off? Is Trick going to go on fire? Is Yule going to tear everybody apart? Or is Lassie going to just shred everybody? Frey's going to be unstoppable? Or is Mansfeld going to line everybody up and be the ultimate support? And of course, the same thing applies to the other side as well for Western Kentucky. Be sure to let me know what you think in the chat in our Twitch channel for Saints Gaming CA, the Twitch channel. And of course, my apologies if you do hear a small cough here and there. My voice may be going away ever so slightly, but it is worth it here for these fantastic matchups as we no longer have to wait. We'll be hopping in momentarily. Our 5th game of the afternoon. St. Clair versus Western Kentucky University. Let's get into it.
Seconds until minions spawn.
Doesn't look like any funny business to start off this game. Line of scrimmage for both sides across the river, protecting the jungles for Montresk and Trick, respectively. Nice and quiet. Going to be moving over to the lanes right away. And it's just going to be Frez helping out Trick at the blue buff. And Montresk is going to be all by himself there, starting at the Raptor side of things. Looks like everybody's basically getting into their lanes on time, so unless something happens in regards to one team pushing the lane over the other, they should both hit level 2 at around the same time. Granted, there isn't much of a level 2 spike out of Jelly Dog. Against Foam might be able to make something happen. Of course, Lazzy be able to have a 2 abilities would be huge for a little bit of burst as well. As we see Yule picking up exactly where he needs to be. Meanwhile, Lazzy going to be chasing him down as Mansfo jumped right onto the bot lane. That's going to be a huge rend. Not going to do enough damage, however. Lazzy going to eat a ton of damage as well, as Jelly Dog was retaliating that entire time. Going to be forcing some potions out of all the players in this situation. Yule and Mift back and forth trading with each other, whether it be moving the ball or dropping a bubble on them. And then Frez, as of right now, pushed all the way back into his turret. Jungler's still farming away. Won't see anything crazy for a little bit. We do see Montresk looking to maybe make a play on this mid lane. Going to get pushed aside. However, Yule's in a world of hurt, having the flash. Montresk going to burn that flash, and Yule has to be careful now. We know he loves his 1v1s, his engagements, but if he tries something again, it very well could be curtains for him because he can't escape. Good damage coming out here from Frez onto Quiche. Bring him down to about halfway, but not much mana still left here for Frez. But of course, he's Ornn. He doesn't have to go back to base. He can just build his items on the spot. Perks of having a tanky blacksmith. Okay, Quiche looking to get aggressive. Frez going to get out of dodge before anything huge happens. Montresk making the return path here. Back to Yule again, similar situation. However, Montresk wasn't exactly in the best position. Mift, however, pretty low on mana. Doesn't have much left to try and move that ball around, but still going to make Yule's life a little bit difficult. Try to zone him away from the minions to the point where him as well as Trick are going to just back right out, unless Trick is thinking about it. They're going to teleport right into this mid lane. Trick is right there. If he can land the web, we'll probably see in a moment, but never mind. It looks like Montresk is there to escort Mift out of there, and they're not going to opt to get aggressive. So that teleport from Yule is just basically going to make sure that he doesn't fall behind in regards to minions and experience. A quiet moment now in the match as we see Dragon now spawn. Montresk looking to maybe get some vision towards it, but he's actually moving up towards his mid lane. You'll better be careful. He did get aggressive onto Mift not too long ago, but sees Montresk either through a ward or something, but did not get himself in too aggressive of a position to where he could have been jumped on again. About halfway through that flash cooldown, just around the corner from being able to play aggressive safely again. A good stun coming out here from Yule. Good damage. Meanwhile, Quiche and Frez dueling it out. Frez is going to hit level 6 first. Has the ultimate available if necessary, but now Quiche does as well. Dragon trying to be taken here by St. Clair, but Montresk is nearby. He does want to take a contest. Not going to be the case. Doesn't realize what's happening. So they're actually going to jump now onto the mid lane. It's going to be the That wasn't an ult, but anyway, up here in this top lane, Ornhorn coming through, the back and forth battle, but you have the turret on your side. Who's going to get this? It's going to go over to Quiche as he hangs on by a thread to make sure he can secure that 1v1. Frez going down. Had the right idea, but Quiche jumping at the right time, I think dodged either a tower shot or one more auto attack or an ability. Just leaving just enough health on the board that he can win that fight. Frustrating one there for Frez, as that was extremely close, but he's going to have to walk back to the lane. Okay, a good stun actually coming off here from Yule. He's going to be able to burst him down if he's not careful, but the counter burst coming out from Mift is able to keep Montresk alive, and Mift is going to pick up his first kill of the game. I'll give Western Kentucky credit so far. They've been playing pretty good so far in this game. Rather even, I would say. As a tower dive occurs, Tuak getting jumped on, but it's going to be a TP coming out. That's probably going to be Quiche coming in hot. Lazi going to secure one kill on to Tuak. But Mansfo does go down. Mift is here as well. Going to try and get away, but it's going to go over to Lazi as well. Trick repelling up to the skies to make sure that turret gets away. But that was actually Frez who stopped the TP. Actually, no, that was the TP from Mift, actually, so it was not Quiche, unless Quiche did go for the TP, and it got stunned away by Frez. Unfortunately, not 100% sure as how that happened and in what order. But overall, not too bad. I think it was like 2 kills on to Lazi, which is, of course, absolutely fantastic. Yule and Mansfu coming in hot. The stun coming out from Yule. Going to force a flash from Quiche. Yeah, Shelly is there ready and waiting if somebody wants to opt to contest her. But they're going to go towards the mid lane. Some good damage coming out there from Mift. Manso has a little bit of a walk to go back to his bot laner. Lazi forced to stay back, especially, like, they don't realize it, but Montresk is nearby, is just about ready with level 6. Just popping it now, so has his ultimate. Of course, with this roaming from Miensfo, he's going to be down a level 4 compared to 5 from Jelly Dog. But at the same time, it means all this experience has been going strictly to Lazi, allowing him to make those Rends or make whichever ability that he is trying to focus down, probably the Rend, I would imagine, that much more painful. And Miensfo doesn't need a whole heck of a lot of experience or items to really get effective at this point. And okay, it's going to be the stun coming out. It's going to be the shockwave from Mift saving him. And that's going to be the charge in from Montresk. Does he have another ability? He does. He's going to trade this 1-for-1. Buff transfer complete, however, for Mift, as he makes sure that he capitalizes on the death of his fallen jungler. Quiche charging in. That's a good chunk of damage going on to Frez, and Frez not going to be able to answer, so he's just going to back right up, pick up some items, and get himself loaded mana-wise. Or maybe I'm a liar. Made it seem like he was going back, but not this time. Shelly now being contested by Moltrek and Mift. They're pretty well uncontested. The Dragon is now being looked at, however, by Sinclair, as we trade back and forth between these two beefy members of each other's teams. And Moltrek going to pick up the Herald, so at some point able to drop that down, and it looks like it's going to be towards the top lane, I do believe. Yeah, here comes Shelly. But in the meantime, Moltrek dodges away from one, forces the flash from Mule extremely quickly. This is going to be a rough spot here for Frez. That's going to take a long time to try and take down Shelly. It's going to be maybe 2 plates going forward. Going to be successful in doing so. However, he's going to try and turn it onto Quiche. Quiche getting kind of low. Does he have anything available? Here comes the Ornhorn. Going to pound it forward, but it does not quite get the finishing blow. But St. Clair, as all that was happening, able to get the finishing blow on the second dragon of the game. Still slightly behind in regards to golds, but not by much. They've got themselves 2 dragons in this game so far, compared to none for Western Kentucky. But that Herald going into their favor was definitely a boon. And a bit of a greedy back there from Yesfo. A solid spell shield right on the right time onto Montrask, but it's not going to be able to take down Lazzy. As there's another gank here in the mid lane, that's going to be Trick securing the shutdown gold from Mift. Jelly Dog running away. That's a lot of spears in them right now. That round would have done a ton of damage, but thankfully for him, was out of range. Trick on the way down. And then decides otherwise, unless that ping was from him right here, right now. Thinking about it, he's on a control board, so he knows he's not spotted. Being patient with it. Lazzy is just extremely weak, however, though, so I highly doubt that they will go for this fight. And yeah, they're going to just back off, so... Reset, get Lazzy some health, let him get some items so he works towards that Blade of the Rune King. Moltresk looking towards Frez. Frez going to try and dive away, try to get the proper angle on this charge in, but it's not going to be enough to really follow up upon. They're just going to trade damage and move forward with their games. With the plates just about out of play, a little bit of a push there from Mift as he's going to pop the shockwave just to try and keep Yensfo off him. What this bot lane doesn't realize, though, is that they could probably turn in on it. Lazzy's getting extremely aggressive, and that's going to be the exhaust coming out. Has the rend available, not going to be able to pull it away. Never mind, he walks right back in the range, and that's going to allow Lazzy to pull away this 1v2 and go positive on it. That was unusual, to say the least. Frez battling it out here with Quiche, going basically even until he heals up a bunch additional. Trick is nearby as well. Quiche getting to be a little bit confident. Where's the stun? Comes in right now. Can he get the execute? Trick going to finish that off. Gonna get Frez his first assist on the game. A little bit of extra bonus gold never hurt. However, Lazzy's got to run for the hills. Here comes Mift with the shutdown, taking care of him nice and easy. Mift absolutely blazing the scoreline right now with that kill-death ratio, as he already has his Luden's Echo, able to do a ton of additional AoE damage. And if left alone in these team fights, he could definitely be a threat, as Trick gets jumped on by Quiche, is probably going to go down rather simply, as there's going to be a big shutdown going over the Quiche. His second kill of the game going to be profiting him big time. A nice attempt there from Mule, tries to blow him up as he rotates in. But Quiche now in a rough spot, but a nice ball delivery service coming out here from Quiche and Mift. It's going to be a not a 1-for-1, and 3 members down on the side of St. Clair. Frez is running for the hills, but he doesn't have very much MR at this point. That's going to be the flash from Mift, and going to secure that one. And then we have the ult being popped from Tuak, and this 1v2 attempt is happening once again. Jelly Dog with the ultimate ability, going to try and stun him up, and that's going to be an arrow right through Lazzy. But it just goes to show how little damage they have, or how little confidence they currently have in this situation where Lazzy made that look somewhat even though they both just blew their ults on him. Either that or they were too nervous that there is reinforcements from St. Clair right around the corner and were just respecting it. When we know, since we have the clear view, that that wasn't exactly the case. They could have gone in, but they opt against it. Dragon number 3 ready for play here. And it depends on how this teamfight goes and who gets caught in Myth's Shockwave. What happens there with this Orianna, of course, because we've seen in that last teamfight, it was a 2v3 that got turned around, but they jumped Myth right away before anything could happen. Yule just blows him up. Hornhorn going through so many members of the Western Kentucky squad. Tuak is not going to be long for this world. Trick going to find himself another. Actually, it's going to be going over to Lazzy. So Lazzy 4-1-1 currently in this game. And this is going to be Dragon number 3 moving forward for St. Clair. Cliche, the only one who did not get caught up in that fight. And it's going to be trying to hold this mid turret as there's like next to no health on it. So he's just going to literally auto attack it and it's going to go down. Bot turret going down as well. Lots of gold being shifted everywhere to this St. Clair College squad. And they're going to get themselves quite the lead. Lassie with maybe a bit of an over-aggressive play here, as he went for the Grump when he had no vision, and is definitely going to pay for that one without question. A little bit of a rough spot there, going to put another kill onto Myth's scoreboard. I think that's another Herald, probably the last Herald, going over to St. Clair. Trick in hand with it, it looks like. Cliche getting a little bit over aggressive, going all the way into a stun from Trick. Can they finish him off? In fact, they're going to be able to do so. Cliche then. Oh, I liked your jungle overextension. Let me do one too. And they both go plop. Unfortunate there for the two respective players at hand. Mansfo leading the charge, but of course the amount of damage that Myth is putting out is going to be rather disgusting in the best way possible. Shelly comes out to play. Trick going to push Myth aside, make sure that he can't just get the ball in to the middle of his team for free. They take that tier 2 turret and go on with their day. Stun coming out here, and that's going to hit Montresque, who's forced to use his ultimate defensively, but he comes in right at the right time and then blow up Miansfo. Frez in the middle of all this, trying to tank as much damage as possible. Lassie is nowhere near this fight and cannot make it. Tuak going to get his first kill in this game after taking down Frez. It's definitely a good thing for the side of Western Kentucky, considering that Tuak was having a very hard time in that bottom lane. He had his Blade of the Ruined King, but did not have much else really to follow it up. I don't think he even had any basic boots at that time, or if he did have boots, it was just basic boots. So, was definitely a slow, immobile target, and is able to get himself a Zeal, some additional items as well on top of that. Allow him to shoot a little bit quicker and move a little bit quicker. So he definitely needed that. Yeah, because CS-wise right now, Lazzy is absolutely on fire as he's at 176 compared to 2x 131. Definitely ahead in that regard. A little bit of extra gold in Lazzy's pocket, rather. And now with Baron on board, it could be an area of contention in the very near future. Probably after another dragon, which, to be honest, Western Kentucky University has to definitely be careful about, considering it's going to be soul points here now. As we do have Lazzy and Mansfeld coming in hot here, as Cliche is going to just try to dive on to Yule, but not going to happen. Mansfeld going to find the kill to make sure that Yule doesn't take any additional heat, and they're going to keep getting aggressive. They're going to go on to Montresque, who is ulting in, but did not get as much value in it as possible. Lassie takes down Montresque. Miesfo still hanging on for dear life. Watch out for that shockwave. It very well could be a thing. It's going to just solo ult onto Lassie. Blows him out instantly. Not a bad choice, actually, there from Mift. Dodges the stun coming out from Yule. Is going to try and make the goose chase happen here for the side of St. Clair. But Yule using his teleport aggressively to cut him off, and Trick going to find the stun, get the kill, and finalize that ace. St. Clair on a tear as we push towards the bot and mid lanes. So Lassie, Blade of the Rune King, he's got his boots fully done. He's got the Hurricane. Definitely loaded and ready to fight, but at the same time, with the way some of these fights have been happening, it does let Tuak to get back and get the Hurricane as well. It's just essentially down the boots and some lifesteal at this point. Now St. Clair moving for the Dragon. They're going to be able to secure this fourth one at this rate. There is nobody on the side of Western Kentucky even looking at this Dragon. So 4 Dragons on the way for St. Clair. The Soul is up, and the Soul is down. Down goes the Pony. Montresque out. Yule blowing him up to secure that kill, getting his 3rd in this game. With the jungler down, that screams time for Baron, as you have no jungler to try and contest with a smite. I mean, Miffs could definitely get something done, however, if he wants to give it a shot. A shockwave could definitely turn this around. Montresque coming in as fast as possible, but it's going to be a little too late. Shockwave, it's going over to Miffs. A huge steal with no jungler available and a Callista. They're going to be able to get 1 kill off of it anyway, but absolutely brutal there from St. Clair, considering they had the tools to secure that and it just did not happen. But if they do end up just throwing this aside, the Virus Ult does come down to slow everybody down. But if they can quickly get back to base, regroup, and then just join Mift. Mift is the win condition in this situation. There is no shockwave, but he still definitely has AoE damage. Inhibitor goes down, then St. Clair opts to get out of dodge. Considering the situation, that's probably still a plus. They're going to at least have some super minions pushing that mid lane with them shortly. That Volibear skin is absolutely hilarious. I keep thinking I have the window open and that somebody's getting pulled over beside me, but nope, it's just Quiche. It's just Volibear. But they're on pursuit of Volibear. Let's hope they don't overextend, because Montresque is right there alongside Jelly Dog. Gonna start pushing that top lane as the super minions start going towards the middle. Right now, Twack is right there to try and keep it moving. Lassie, however, all the way down on the bottom side. Quiche going to try and meet him down bot. Pushes the lane up, and now Lassie's got a bit of a walk as they start looking towards this top turret. And Mift is all the way up here, which means there is no big AoE damage coming out onto those super minions. All up to Twack to get it. Lassie pushing up the mid lane, not quite with his team just yet. Quiche pushing down bot, maybe trying to sneak a turret in if he can. If a fight does break out, he very well can teleport to his team. And you can definitely tell Twack is having a hard time in that mid lane. He's all the way down to his Nexus turrets. And stun gets put onto Jelly Dog, some decent damage. Chunked to about 3/4 left in his HP bar. Quiche going to secure 1 blue turret, so there is still some value coming out of this here for Western Kentucky University. If they can just kind of keep holding St. Clair here, they would be able to keep pushing that turret. It would be a massive mistake for St. Clair to not do anything, and they're going to send back Frez. Since he does have his teleport available, he can at least match Quiche shot for shot. That being said, though, it was still too late. That turret went from 100 to 0. Quiche, good little split push to put some additional gold back into the pockets of the Western Kentucky squad. Yule looking for the stun, not going to happen. AM Trix is going to hit, however. They try to get Jelly Dog once again, but to be honest, he's not exactly the most priority of targets. Does have his Zanya, so of course he very well could get into the middle of the team and try to ult. But with no flash, that's going to be kind of difficult to do. And St. Clair just going to opt to back off. We're almost a half hour into this game. It's weird to think that a half hour is considered one of the longer matches of the day. I remember when the average League of Legends match was like 50 minutes. Thank God those days are not here anymore. Otherwise, you would be looking at the caster camera and I would be absolutely plopped on my desk. Gathering up resources, getting some vision, and it's almost time for Dragon number 5. If St. Clair can manage to snag this one as well, that would be optimal for them. But of course, I'm sure Western Kentucky want to try and get some dragons under their belt as well, get some gold, some additional buffs. And the only one not in the fight as of right now will be Yule, but he does have a teleport as well. They're debating on trying to chase after Jelly Dog. But again, Jelly Dog not exactly the kind of target that you want to throw everything at. But all 5 of Western Kentucky are here ready to go. Montresque was thinking about jumping in, but not going to pull the trigger just yet. Nobody else would have been with him had he went all in there. Stunned up, but here comes Quiche as well as Montresque. I think St. Clair are able to flash away the fear. Quiche on top of Mansfo. Mansfo hanging on for dear life. Lassie in the background, pretty well on contest alongside Yule. Jelly Dog trying to get in the middle of all the carries is rather successful so far. Twack going down by Mansfo. Then Jelly Dog goes down as well, but there's the shockwave that they were looking for. A big double from Mift. There's only 2 members left in this battle for St. Clair. And one goes down. Frez is down. Yule has the blue buff available, so he has himself some cooldown reduction. But what will they opt to do here? Quiche looking to run back towards this mid lane, maybe try to finish off Yule. But their health bars were just a little bit too low to try and secure themselves that dragon. This battle for the side of Western Kentucky University is definitely all in the hands of Mift. That team fight looked completely one-sided towards St. Clair until that shockwave went off. They dodged Montresque. Yule and Lassie had open season. Mansfo, Frez, and Trick were all in the midst of everybody. A little bit spread out, so they weren't going to get shockwaved, but they were still definitely putting on the pressure. But as soon as they gathered in that bush, Myth made them pay. And of course, this Elder Dragon is still available. Going to be contested once again. Baron is also on the table. Twack gets stunned up. This could be kind of brutal. Half health chunked away with just the combination from Trick. And it's going to solo him out. And he's continuing to pursue Jelly Dog now. If he's not careful, he could be in for a world of hurt. Going to try and do a little bit more additional damage. One more shot away. Is going to be able to single-handedly score himself a double. Meanwhile, Mansfo gets popped. That's going to be Montresque's time to go. Ornhorn goes right onto Mift, and that's going to allow Yule to jump in and completely blow Mift up. Dropping the ult on him. It's going to allow St. Clair to get this Elder Dragon if they could actually smite it. In fact, they do this time. It's going to be picked up by Trick Actually, the smite wasn't even available, so using the execution to secure that one this time. And Frez is already at the mid inhibitor, going to knock this down again alongside Man's Foe. And in theory, Sinclair should be able to ride this minion wave all the way to the Nexus and take it out. But there is Twack back in play. Of course, he got taken down before that fight even had a chance to really begin. One tower down, looking for the other. Still only 2 members alive on the side of Western Kentucky. Montress goes down. There goes Twack again. And St. Clair moving on with another victory here in this tournament. Holy moly. Well, that's quite the day that we're having here so far. St. Clair on an absolute fantastic tear. Only losing to one team so far. And putting themselves more than likely into Championship Sunday, into the single elimination bracket. But it depends now, where are they seated? Of course, exclamation mark in the chat will bring up the current standings. I'm going to take a look at it myself real quick. So with that, St. Clair's going to have 5 wins on the day, if you include the bye. But in terms of specifically like match for match, they are sitting 4-1. And the only team we have left is the team on top, Northwood University. Going to be the next matchup here for St. Clair in a moment's time. Scheduled to start at 5 o'clock. So once again, we have about 5 minutes or so before this matchup ends up going down. And after that, that should be it, because round number 7 is a bye for St. Clair. So we'll get the free win because there's 7 in the group and not 8. Quickly make those adjustments that are necessary. Of course, take a quick look. Did anybody have any predictions in the chat in regards to who was popping off? Take a look real fast. I do not see anybody. So nobody had any idea who was going to carry that game or who was going to be the standout. Don't blame you. It is definitely a hard task nonetheless. But let's take a look at the final results here. So Mift was at 11-5-4. It was pretty much all the cookies were in his basket, to be honest. And unfortunately, that last team fight, it wasn't even to begin with. So it's definitely a frustrating one for Mift, because like obviously he wants that 5-on-5 team fight. But Twack got taken out. Jelly Dog got taken out already. Bot lane completely gone. That bot lane got blown away, to be completely honest with you. Twack, 1 kill, 7 deaths. Got 8 assists though, so not bad. And on the side of Jelly Dog, 0 kills, 5 deaths, 10 assists. So he was not doing bad per se, but it just felt like they were a non-factor, so to speak, as this game went on. Even though they weren't necessarily like getting destroyed, it still felt that way, which is very, very odd nonetheless. As I'm sure you heard the ding, we're getting ready to set up for our lobby for this next matchup. Of course, it's going to be St. Clair College versus Northwood University, a team that's given us a remarkable amount of hard times in our other esports titles. We'll have to see what happens here in League of Legends. Be sure to stay tuned to find out, as it should be happening within 5 to 10 minutes time. I need a drink. I'll catch you guys in a few minutes.